Welcome. Today we are going to see the poem Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. This poem is a very simple poem because Pablo Neruda never goes with any complicated imagery or any complex simile or metaphor. His poems will mostly be very simple and easy to understand. And this is one such poem. And this poem focuses on introspection. So, what is introspection? Introspection means it's a form of self analysis where we sit quietly and think about our actions, question ourselves about all the things that we do every day in our life. Now, let's get into the poem. Now, we will count to 12 and we will all keep still. So, straightforward, he just asks you all to count to 12 and keep still. What do you mean by still? Still here means to stay calm, quiet, without any movement. To stay calm, quiet, and without any movement. And why does he want to count to 12? Usually, when we count, it will always be from 1 to 10 or 1 to 5, or sometimes 3 to 1 in reverse, and we will start doing the action. Why does he use the number 12? So, the number 12 is used in clocks. Maybe he wanted to talk about time. Or there are 12 zodiac signs. We really do not know why Pablo Neruda uses the number 12. But the significance of the number 12 is it is used in our clocks, and there are 12 zodiac signs. Now let's go to the second stanza. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. The line is again simple and straightforward. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak in any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. So Pablo Neruda wants us to be quiet. He will count to 12 and he wants us to count to 12 and he wants us to be still. And what will happen when the whole world is still? There will be a complete quietness. There will be a complete quietness around the world. And he doesn't want to speak in any language. Why he doesn't want to speak in any language? Because language is generally used for communication. But language has been weaponized and it is also used to fight against each other and argue against each other. So he also doesn't want us to speak in any language. He wants us to be still without any movement, and he wants us to be calm and quiet, not speaking any language. Why? Because language also brings trouble, because we are not able to accept that which is different from us. One person prizes his language too much and the other person prizes his language too much, and sometimes because of these differences we separate ourselves from each other. So he doesn't want anyone to speak any languages and cause any disunity. Next, let's stop for 1 second, just for 1 second. Let's stop and not move our arms so much. Why he doesn't want us to move our arms? So everything that we do in our life involves our hand. Now when I had to take the video, I had to press a button and everything. So most of the things that we humans do, we do it with our hands. So our legs are just for walking around, movement. It is a locomotive organ. But the hand is the one that acts, that makes us do things. And most of the time, we use these hands for bad purposes than for good purposes. Okay, so when you make a time bomb, you use your hand. Your brain coordinates your hand and you do that evil thing. So mostly humans have used the hands for doing more wrong things than good things. So that's why he specifically tells, and not move our arms so much. Let us not move it so much. Let us not move it so much. Let us not move it than for that which it is necessary. Next stanza. It would be an exotic moment. It would be an exotic moment. What do you mean by exotic? Exotic means something that is strange, that is foreign. Okay, sometimes we call certain foods as exotic foods. Why do we call that as an exotic food? Because it is not native to our country, it might not be native to our state. So that which is foreign to us is exotic. So here, why does he use the phrase exotic moment? Because the whole world being silent is not something that is common. It is rather a very strange thing. So he tells, when we all become quiet, not speaking any languages and not moving our arms so much, the moment will be exotic. It will be strange in a good way. Strange, not in a bad way, strange in a very good way. Without rush, without engines, we would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Okay, so it will be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. Without rush refers to our daily life. We live always in a rush. We wake up at a specific time and immediately we don't have a time to enjoy the beauty of the nature or go for a walk and talk bit with our friends or spend little time with our family. We wake up and we run the rat race. Okay, what is the rat race? We wake up and immediately all we think about is our work. We take bath, we grab whatever we get, throw it inside our mouth and start our bikes and go for our job. And that is what we all do. We live the rat race. We live in a rush. We don't slow down and try to enjoy the nature around us, the beauty around us. We do not try to spend more time with our family. So that's why he tells this moment will be an exotic moment, because we have stopped using any languages. We have stopped using our arms so much. So now we can realize the beauty around us and we can see the beauty of the people around us. No rush, no engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. We will all be together in a sudden strangeness. This line is again very beautiful. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. So exotic means strange. Okay, now we all don't speak in any language. We are all calm and quiet and we do not move our arms so much. So it brings a unity among us. It brings an equality among us. That's why he tells, we would all be together in a sudden strangeness. The sudden strangeness of keeping quiet, calm and still will unite us all. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. So he is telling what would happen if we all keep quiet and still. So what would happen? The first thing that he tells us, fishermen would not harm whales. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales. So what does he mean by that? When fishermen hunt and kill the whales, okay, so fisherman doesn't refer to the men who do fishing for a living, okay. This talks about fishermen who go and hunt whales for different purposes. So when they hunt whales and kill them, these people don't realize that they are harming their environment, that they are harming nature. So Pablo Neruda, that's the reason Pablo Neruda wants us to be quiet and introspect. So if we are quiet and if we introspect, we will realize, fishermen might realize, by hunting the whale, we are not gaining anything. We are actually harming the environment. We are harming the earth that we live in. And next, the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. So the man who is gathering salt every day for his work, okay, so he is always in a rush and he is completely working. He never thinks about anything. All he thinks is work, 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 and he thinks about gathering salt. Not even one day he takes rest. He continuously does that work. But if we stop and be still and introspect, that is, think quietly for a moment and question ourselves, he will realize the amount of hurt his hand has received. He would realize that the amount of hurt his hand has received. And maybe after that, he will realize, okay, I need to take rest. By working continuously, I'm harming myself. Let's go to the next stanza. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. Next, Pablo Neruda tells, if we sit quietly and if we introspect, what we will do. Okay, those who wage green wars. Okay, green wars is a war that we wage against environment through pollution, through other harmful human activities that affect the natures. Wars with gas, wars with fire, both refers to the wars that we wage against human, where the weaponry includes lot of ammunition, fire. And then victory with no survivors. This is really a beautiful one. Victory with no survivors. For example, take two nations which fight against each other. Okay, after lots of intense fight, finally one declares victory over the other and they celebrate the victory. But what's the point of that victory when it came at the cost of many of the soldiers who fought in the war and the death of lots of innocent civilians? What's the point of that victory when you are standing on the dead bodies of all the soldiers who took part in the war and the innocent civilians who did not even know why they are being killed? So what's the point of that victory when there are no survivors to celebrate that victory? So that's why he tells, if you sit quietly and if you are still, you might introspect and stop doing all these harmful things. So if they stop doing all these harmful things, that is the green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, what would everyone do? All the soldiers would put on clean clothes. They would put on clean clothes and they walk about with their brothers. Okay, all the soldiers who would fight would rather put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers. And who are these brothers? These brothers are the ones who are considered as their enemies. If there is no war, everyone is a brother to me. And what will we do? We will enjoy a stroll in the evening. We will have a evening walk together and we will sit in the shade doing nothing, enjoying the nature. And all this will be possible only when we keep quiet and be still and introspect all the actions that we do. Next stanza. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no truck with death. Okay, so Pablo Neruda wants to tell it clearly. What he tells should not be confused with total inactivity. Pablo Neruda, when he tells be quiet, be still, he does not talk about being idle, being lazy, not doing nothing. He doesn't want us to involve in anything that causes harm to us. Okay, always living in a rush. Not having any time to spend with family, not having any time to admire the beauty of nature, not able to spend time with God, not able to celebrate any event together with the family. We always live the rat race of running and rushing and competing with each other. So Pablo Neruda tells that is what he doesn't want. Okay, when he tells he wants everyone to be quiet and still, not doing anything, he doesn't recommend idleness. He doesn't recommend being lazy. He tells he doesn't want us to involve in all those harmful activities which detach us from the world, which detach us from all the enjoyment that nature provides us. I want no truck with death. I want no truck with death here means I don't want anything to do with death. Okay, and I'm not talking about when I Pablo Neruda tells, when I tell being quiet and still, I don't mean being dead. I don't want anything to do with dead. Now he tells, if we were not so single minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt the sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Okay, so this is a long line. Let's go a little slow. If we were not so single minded, if we were not so single minded, what does he mean by single minded? Single minded here might refer to being focused on oneself, thinking only about oneself, that is being extremely selfish, doesn't bother about anyone else. The only person you bother about is you, not in a healthy way, in a way that is harmful to others. So Pablo Neruda requests us not to be single minded like that. He doesn't want us to be single minded like that. He wants us to be selfless. Okay, not like avoiding us totally. He doesn't want us to involve with ourselves and focused on ourselves in such an unhealthy way that we never think about the well-being of others. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, for once, if we stop being single-minded about how we will develop our life, how we will build our wealth, and for once, if we do nothing, okay, stop all these silly things, stop all these harmful things, perhaps, maybe that huge silence might interrupt our sadness. So maybe when you stop doing all these things that harm you, okay, and when you are quiet and still, that stillness might put an end to your sadness. At least it will interrupt and keep the sadness at bay for a while. Of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Okay, so this is a huge line that we have to, when we put everything, when we piece everything together, we will be understanding it better. So what does he tell? He doesn't want us to be single minded in moving our lives. Okay, he doesn't want us to be selfish, thinking only about ourselves, not caring about the society, not caring about the community where we live in, not caring about the neighbors. The only thing that you think about is you, and building yourself, building your wealth, and making your life better with zero regards to people around you. Perhaps for once, if you stop that, the huge silence might interrupt the sadness. And what is the sadness? The sadness is we never take time to understand ourselves. We threaten ourselves each day with the activities that we do. What is that activity? Not thinking about anything and always living in a rush. And all the things that we take, all the decisions that we take are harmful decisions which only causes immense pain and suffering to us. And by that we threaten ourselves. Our activities actually threaten us with death each day. Maybe if you are not single-minded about keeping your lives moving, you will realize that you are the one who is causing the suffering and the pain. So the silence that Pablo Neruda requests, the stillness that he requests in your life might make you introspect, and that introspection will interrupt the sadness that you have created by the way you live. And then the next stanza, perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. So earth can teach us. So he tells the earth can teach us. How can the earth teach us? That when everything seems dead, later proves to be alive. What does he mean by everything seems dead and later proves to be alive? For example, take a seed. A seed, only when it is dropped inside the ground and buried, it will grow. When you drop it and bury it inside the ground, it will look like it is dead. It is of no use. But unless it is buried and stays quietly inside, it will never be able to live a good life. So, when will a tree come out? When it remains quietly as a seed under the soil. One day, slowly it will sprout, and later the flower will bloom, and later it will grow huge, giving fruits to everyone, giving shade to everyone. And that's what Pablo Neruda wants us. He wants us to be quiet and still. He doesn't recommend idleness or laziness. He wants us to take time now and then so that we will introspect ourselves, question ourselves about all the activities that we do, and realize what is really necessary for life and what is really good for us as well as others, and act. And when we do so, not only it is not only us who will be benefited, it is also the people around us. Now finally he ends the poem again beautifully, like by telling, now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. Okay, now he has told what are the benefits of introspection and what will happen when you pause for a while and look around and take a moment to question yourself, to question all your actions. What will happen? You will make better decision, and when you make better decision, and similarly when others make better decision, it will benefit you and also others. So he tells again, I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. Thank you.
Here is another example for the lines. Perhaps the earth can teach us as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. What comes before spring season? It is autumn. In autumn season, leaves fall from trees and every tree will look as if it is dead. But it is like a period of rest. And after the autumn season comes the spring season. And in spring, the trees which seem to be dead will come back to life, sprouting new leaves. Similarly, Pablo Neruda wants us to rest for a while. Just like the trees shed their leaves in autumn, he wants us to stop all our work and rest, reflecting on our actions. And later, just like new leaves sprout in spring, let us also resume our life with meaningful activities. Further, if we read continuously from the lines, if we were not so single-minded till proves to be alive, we can arrive at the following interpretation. When we introspect and understand ourselves, we stop being selfish and realize that we are not born to be just concerned with our lives, but also to seek the well-being of others and live in peace and harmony with nature. In the end, Pablo Neruda emphasizes that this quiet introspection he calls for will help us shed our old selfish ways of life and be reborn into a new life in which we make better decisions. Thank you.